Andrew Cuomo was in a lot of hot water for sending a bunch of COVID patients back to elderly senior centers where very high-risk elderly people were going to catch the COVID virus and then drop dead. Now, in New York, we don't really know the total numbers of speculative deaths that may have been caused by this. In fact, the governor's office says, no, we didn't do anything wrong at all, so I don't even know what your problem is. But the DOJ got involved, the Department of Justice. The new Biden administration is now in charge, and several different Congress people from New York sent letters over to the DOJ, to the Department of Justice. They said, hey, you're the Department of Justice. We have an unjust thing happening here in New York City. We have a governor who's killing grandma and grandpa in large numbers, right? Very problematic. This is not a joke. DOJ kicks it around for a couple months, and then they decline to investigate Cuomo's handling of COVID-19. Don't you hate that? They just, oh, we looked into it. No, we're not going to do anything. U.S. Department announced on Saturday that it's not going to conduct a civil investigation into New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and his handling of the coronavirus case in the state nursing facilities. Zeldin, who is a government I think he's an elected congressman, had requested the investigation earlier this year, saying that a growing number of state and federal inquiries are happening with the New York governor. So in January, there was a report from New York Attorney General Tish James, remember Letitia James? That same New York Attorney General that gets very facey when she's mad at Donald Trump. Remember, she said something about I will never stop fighting this illegitimate president, and she did one of those things. Which I don't think she's has anything medically wrong with her. She's just very passionate. So if I'm wrong about that, I feel bad about that. But I don't think so. She's very president. She's very mad about it. So. Okay, so she has also botched a number of cases, including the Rochester death of Daniel Prude that was murdered by Rochester police. Also, the Rochester police, I think, beat the heck out of that 9-year-old girl. I think she was 9 years old, maced her, warned her, hey, 9-year-old, we're going to pepper spray you, and then did it when she was in handcuffs in the back of a police car. So same attorney general is now investigating. We have Cuomo. She said in January that a large number, no actual number, but she said, quote, a large number of nursing home residents died from COVID, more than the New York State Department of Health published during nursing home data. They may have undercounted deaths by as much as 50%, folks, meaning the governor of New York may have undercounted 50% of all their nursing home COVID deaths. And remember this, the backstory here was that they were just sort of miscategorizing people. So they would take people to hospitals and treat them. And if they got sick and died there, then that would be a hospital death. But if they sent them back to a nursing home, you would expect that they died at a nursing home, you would expect that would be a nursing home death. But if I recall correctly, the way that they were flubbing the numbers is they would say that, well, if you came from the hospital and died in the nursing home, well, we're still going to count that as a hospital death, not a nursing home death. And you say, okay, well, that's a lot of deaths that you're attributing to a hospital death and not a nursing home death. And so then what they would do is when people would get sick in the nursing homes, they would just ship them to the hospitals so that they could die in the hospitals. And so they had this cycle of people, rolling through there, coming from the hospitals because they have no beds. So they're going to place them in nursing homes, spread the coronavirus, count the person they sent to the nursing home as a hospital death because he caught it from the hospital, allegedly, sent him back to the home because there was no beds. And then the people who are sick in the nursing home who go and die in the hospital, those are also hospital deaths. So a lot of people died in the hospital, but nobody died in the nursing homes. Letitia James says, yeah, it might have been as much as 50%. So you might imagine that, half of the deaths that might be attributed to your government policy, governor, that might make you subject to an investigation, gross negligence. Your activity resulted in the deaths of thousands of people, okay? Not 5-6 people that were killed at January 6th. Thousands of senior citizens as a result of government negligence. Not 6 as a result of government negligence. Let's see what else is going on here. That report also found that many nursing home facilities did not properly isolate residents. Last July, New York health officials released a report denying that their policies had caused any increase in fatalities. So the Department of Justice, they're very, very busy trying to capture grandma and all of the different individuals who were there on January 6th, very focused on that. They don't have enough time or resources to investigate, thousands of dead senior citizens. This is coming over from Joe Gaeta, Deputy Assistant Attorney General. Let's take a look at his statement. This is from the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Legislative Affairs. We can see that this was stamped July 23rd. He sends a letter over to the Honorable Lee Zeldin over at the U.S. House of Representatives. He's a New York congressman. Says, Dear Congressman, this responds to your letter back in February. So, a couple months later, but addressed to the Attorney General regarding the New York response to COVID-19 in nursing facilities, where I'm sending an identical response to other members. The DOJ, the department, through the Civil Rights Division, we have the authority to investigate these things. The Civil Rights Division requested information from New York by a letter dated August 26 regarding COVID. The letter stated that they would assist the department in determining whether to open an investigation. New York provided information in response. And here we go, folks. We have reviewed the information provided by New York, along with additional information available to the department. Based on that review, we have decided not to open a CRIPA investigation of any public nursing facility within New York at this time. If we were to open one at a later date, we would follow the procedure and give you notice. We hope this information is helpful. Guess what? It's not. You didn't give them any information. This is the whole letter, folks. This is the whole stinking letter. We hope this information is helpful. Please do not hesitate to contact this office if we may be of any further information. There is nothing there. They didn't say why. They didn't say if there's going to be any other recourse. Are they going to refer this over to somebody else? Nope. We got the information from New York. We know you sent us a letter. So we contacted New York and they sent us their data. We looked at it and it looks good, right? Sort of like the police agencies investigating themselves and finding we did nothing wrong. And everybody's saying, oh, good job, everybody. Good job. Yeah, well done. Got to the bottom of it? We got to the bottom of it. All right. Good. So our U.S. Our entire Department of Justice, how many resources are they still spending on January 6th? Resulted in 6 deaths. Okay. Several of those were from the Trump people. One of those was a shooting. And I think one of them was natural causes and another suicide. Okay. We're going to spend probably $1 billion on that when all said and done. I mean, good Lord. But we can't even open an inquiry into thousands of dead senior citizens in New York. Okay. What did Rep. Zeldin have to say about this? He responded, says, today, Congressman issued the following reports. He said, New York seniors tragically and unnecessarily died of COVID as a result of Governor Cuomo's incompetent and inhumane executive order that required nursing homes to accept COVID-19 patients. The governor has engaged in blatant corruption, covered up the consequences of his failed policy, had the audacity to sign an absurd $5.1 million self-congratulatory book deal, praising COVID leadership, all while New Yorkers were grieving and clamoring for answers. The families and loved ones of the victims of Governor Cuomo's failed leadership deserve transparency, accountability, and the truth. That's almost a line from this show about the lengths of the Cuomo administration's cover-up and their corruption. DOJ has now chosen to willfully participate in efforts to deny the public of answers and accountability. Adding this to the book deal and the Emmy Award, the DOJ decision is yet another gift to a corrupt governor, turning a blind eye to the facts, the victims, and the public interest. So absolutely no justice there, right? No justice at all. But okay, that's our new DOJ. We have Steve Scalise, also unhappy about this, says that the DOJ just said they're refusing to investigate the nursing home COVID death scandals in New York, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Absolutely shameful. They're complicit in these Democratic governors' cover-ups. Families who lost loved ones deserve better. Yes, but they don't actually care about the COVID deaths. They care about your compliance, right? They don't care. Cuomo sent bodies of infected COVID people back to nursing homes. I understand making a mistake, but it's gross negligence. DOJ should be investigating it. New York Governor's Office remains under state and federal scrutiny. Don't hold your breath that anything is going to come from that over multiple questions. U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn is conducting an investigation into its nursing home policies for undercounting the number of fatalities. Don't hold your breath. U.S. Attorney's Office did not comment on Saturday on that investigation. Also continues to investigate allegations of sexual harassment as well as more than $5 million the governor received for a book he authored about the pandemic, also under investigation for allegedly giving preferential treatment to family members for coronavirus testing. So the guy is just an absolute, oligarch piece of work. And our DOJ just, thanks for that data there, Cuomo. We got the letter from you. We reviewed the numbers. We looked at your spreadsheet. You're in the clear. We're going to drop everything. Just get back to what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Thanks for your press conferences. All right. So let's take a look at some questions over from watchingthewatchers.locals.com and see if anything has come in on this topic. Certainly has. We have Lorenzo Greasy Bottoms is back here. Good to see you, Lorenzo. It's been a long time, my friend. Can't read that comment. No, can't get that. Can't read that one. But says, can't read that comment there. Lorenzo, hello. All right, we have Sergeant Bob in the house says, I think this may come from Merrick Garland. He is so incensed that he didn't get a black robe on the Supreme Court and is blocked by Republicans that he will exact retribution in any manner he can. Hell hath no fury like a politician scorned. That's from Sergeant Bob. Yeah, probably a little bit of a needle back there, a little thorn in the side there of Merrick Garland. What Sergeant Bob is talking about is that Merrick Garland was actually nominated to be a Supreme Court judge. Many people forgot about that. And he was denied because Mitch McConnell was in charge of the Senate during Barack Obama's last term. And you need the Senate to confirm a Supreme Court judge. So they didn't do that. They didn't confirm Merrick Garland. Guess who won the next election? Donald Trump. Guess who got that seat? That was Kavanaugh. And so we had Gorsuch from Trump. Then we had Kavanaugh. No, actually, I think that was Gorsuch. It was first Gorsuch, then Kavanaugh, then Amy Coney Barrett. So we got three of them. Gorsuch was the first one. Ooh, yeah, and he's not happy about that. Neither are the Democrats. A lot of court-packing conversations happening on these days. We have Gail08 says, it wasn't just Cuomo's undercounting of the nursing home deaths. It was Cuomo's lying in the cover-up of information that was requested by the DOJ. That investigation may have actually had consequences until the DOJ dropped its investigations against the governors New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Yeah, and listen, I've had a lot of sort of leniency, if I want to use that word, for people who are in the middle of a crisis who make bad decisions. Always been okay with that, right? If you're going to make a mistake, that's okay. We all make mistakes. The problem is when you try to cover up that mistake, or when you try to deny it, or when you don't own up to that. That's the problem, because that means you didn't learn anything. And we as a society, of course, don't want to go through this again. So all of the original mistakes, the nursing home thing is sort of mind-boggling, because we all knew that the elderly from like day one were the most susceptible to this thing. So that was an asinine decision in the first place. But you can have a little bit of empathy for a leader in the middle of a crisis like COVID. But then they cover it up, and then they go, write books and get Emmys and do all sorts of stuff when you had like more deaths than anybody in the country did. All seniors because of your stupid policies. So that seems a little bit inappropriate and criminal, actually. Thunder7 says, Rob, unfortunately, the DOJ not doing their job is the way now. I remember when the Dem Govs ignored the hospital ships and field hospitals and shoved the elderly into nursing homes to kill them. They did it deliberately to blame Trump before the election. Mass murder is now fully accepted by the Biden Nazi regime. Woo, that's a spicy comment, man. Woo, woo, woo. Somebody cool me down on that. Woo, it's tough. Thunder7, it was interesting watching the politics be played with this. I was thinking back about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Remember that super clip that we played, that super, mega montage of them coming out and screaming, if Trump passes the vaccine, we're not going to take it. We had many clips of that. And of course, that was all political posturing, right? That was before the election. They were speculating and hedging their bets, predicting that Donald Trump might come out with an October surprise. Hey, we got a vaccine. Hey, it's good to go. Everything's fine now. And so Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they needed to sow seeds of doubt in the vaccine at that time. Because if he would have come out with this, October surprise, boom, he may have been reelected. Trump delivered it. Operation Warp Speed, he got us there. So they were already laying the framework. It's pre-suasion because they were anticipating that. They were playing chess. They're saying Trump and his team might come out with something, pull a rabbit out of a hat at the last minute. And we have to sort of, take the wind out of that before it gets there. Then election night happened. Their tune changed miraculously. Why? Well, because they won. So we know that COVID has been politics all through and through from day one, in my opinion. It's all been about politics, and it is still about politics, much more so than it is about saving lives. Many other alternatives to save lives, but for some reason, we have governors shoving elderly COVID patients into nursing homes. So I don't know how you justify that. We have Todd Trout says, Rob, shouldn't the New York nursing home investigation be a New York state case, not a federal case? Isn't the cover-up of the negligence be the actual crime? Yeah, so you could. I think that the congressman who sent the original letter over to the DOJ was treating this as a civil rights violation, sort of as a I think disabled federal statutes that would invoke some disability statutes and things that would have made it a federal cause of action. So it's a federal elected representative. He sent something that was a federal cause of action to the federal DOJ. I don't know what they're doing locally, but I would imagine that local state senators may be also, running around doing their own inquiries, and they would be using state power to do that. So I think that's kind of the only reason, but it's a great point. It's a great question, right? There's all sorts of other state statutes that I would guess have been violated by, killing senior citizens, but that would have to take place on a local level. Want to Know says, couldn't find anything that Trump did wrong, so investigation done. There you go. Open and closed. Thank you for that, Want to Know. Appreciate it. We had a couple more coming in before we wrap up here. We've got Be Brave says, my concern is that this will start happening again. Fear 2021 version. They have to get those death numbers up. Remember that scoreboard, the death scoreboard that you saw everywhere you went on Washington Post and New York Times? Deaths. Ding, more deaths. Every time we crossed a number that had several zeros at the end of it, everybody was just very excited about that. Hey! So when you have that environment, you start to sort of wonder, what are we incentivizing here, right? Why are we running up the COVID scoreboard? This is not good. And is because all of the bad news that you could jam in the current administration back then was beneficial. So they had no problem doing that. And as soon as the election shifted, guess what happened? The scoreboards changed. We got the vaccine. Coincidentally, right after the election, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were vaccinated before the turn of the year in December. And then after that moment, the scoreboard went away. The death count kill scoreboard went away. And guess what we got? The vaccine scoreboard. We just changed and went from the red, charts of death into the green vaccinations of life. And it was all just orchestrated right in front of our eyes. Very, very perfect. Timing was perfect. And that's why I have a lot of concerns about our government and their response to COVID in particular. A couple more questions. I think this is the last one. We got Larry, 1944, says, things can be done to stop the Marxists. Read Mark Levin's book, American Marxism. And I like Mark Levin. He's a lawyer. He's written a lot of good stuff on some of the legal concepts. And I would recommend that. I actually think I have that book sitting on my coffee table in that next room over there, but I have not opened it. Actually, somebody brought me that book. Somebody who watches the show brought me that book, brought me several of Mark Levin's books. They're sitting on my coffee table. Thank you to whoever that was. Maybe that was you, Larry. Anyways, I appreciate all of those great questions and comments. Let's take a quick look and just give some shout outs over to some people over on YouTube. We got Curtis Bartles here. We got Zorro, Hey Bloodhound, Zulu Zeitz in the house. We have Kenneth Reeder along with Cool Guy 18,000. We have Jennifer, Signs of Life, Donette, Kenneth Reeder, Just Cause, Playing Hooky, says right on, Rob, right on, Playing Hooky, and many others. We have some people over at Locals now. Let's give some shout outs before we wrap up. Shout out to Farmer's Daughter 4. We've got Want to Know, Joe Snow, Pinky number 2, and that one Florida man is also over there at watchingthewatchers.locals, where the chat is lively and fun. If you're not a member over there, you can join up along with some of these new individuals who are now a part of our community. Big shout outs to Truman HW. We got Sift Thea, who signed up as well. Ghost Gunner and Tim Flynn are signed up, and they've actually sort of bumped up their subscription fee rate, and I appreciate that, guys. Thank you for your support. We have Nowhere Man signed up for the year. We have Fresh Eye, who also signed up for the year. Grateful to have you both here with us for the full 12 months. And then Zoji signed up with a one-time support. We appreciate you for that, Zoji, as well. If you want to sign up to be a part of our community, you can do so over at watchingthewatchers.locals.com. $5 a month, but you can raise that if you want, or it's $50 a month annually. And of course, we really appreciate your support. We had an awesome monthly locals meetup via Zoom. We had several people there that you see frequently on here. Well, Sergeant Bob was there, and Sergeant Bob, Miss Lucky were there. We had Jeremy Matrita was in the house. Farmer's daughter was there. I think we saw Beth Coddington there. We saw many, many names. I apologize if I'm forgetting you, but it was about 35, 40 people. We met up via Zoom. Our next one is going to be on August 28th, Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We talked about a lot of stuff, and we talked about sort of the direction of the show, and people gave me some really great ideas and some good feedback. And, I sort of was communicating my finally getting settled down a little bit, right? If you've been following the show for some time, the studio has changed like 2 or 3 times, especially in the last year. It's changed probably 3 or 4 times, 4 or 5 times maybe. And so this is kind of going to be the home base for the foreseeable future. And you can see that stuff is getting settled in a little bit. And I'm really looking forward to that, because then it's going to free up my time to stop, moving bookshelves around and painting walls and patching drywall and all of that, so that I can focus on what I really am passionate about, which is creating more content. We've got some awesome projects that are in the works, working with some other people, throughout our community who are helping me sift through some ideas. And so having a lot of fun. I'm really excited about where this is going. So we're going to have our next one Saturday, August 28th, 2021, 7 to 8 p.m. I hope you can sign up and join us over there. But that, my friends, is it for me for the day. I want to thank you all for being with us. I want to invite you back here tomorrow for another show. Same time, same place, same location. Going to be at 4 p.m. Arizona time, 5 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And for that one Florida man, everybody else have a tremendous evening. Sleep very well. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for watching. Before you head out, I want to just remind you that I am a criminal defense lawyer here in Scottsdale, Arizona, where my team and we've got a long history of helping good people facing criminal charges to find safety, clarity, and hope in their cases and beyond that in their lives. Our phone number for a free case evaluation is 480-787-0394. You can also find us online at www.rrlawaz.com. We can help with any type of criminal charge in the state of Arizona, things like DUI, drug offenses, misdemeanor offenses. And we can also help with clearing up old case records, like expunging cases or making sure that you can restore your rights so that you can vote again or possess a firearm again or apply for some other federal benefits. We can remove mugshots off the internet. Basically, anytime that you or somebody you know or love is in trouble with the law in the state of Arizona, we have an amazing team of people. We would just love the opportunity to help. And our phone number, of course, 480-787-0394. And if you don't need any legal services, that's a very good thing. But you may be interested in some informational offerings so that you are prepared if you do have to deal with the police. And of course, I want to invite you to head on over to gumroad.com/Robert Gruler. You'll notice here, I've got several different trainings that are available, including the law enforcement interaction training. This is the 1, 2, 3 rule for dealing with the police. It's one rule you need, 2 questions that the police can ask of you, and 3 responses if they ask you a problematic question. So that's available now. You can also get a load at my personal productivity system here called Existence Systems. Fun little course. And then we have here, if you're a lawyer or a legal professional, be sure to check out this program. We are meeting twice every month. Again, all of this over at gumroad.com/Robert Gruler. And if none of that sounds any good to you, well, just go ahead and give us a follow, because I'm working on some other products and some other offerings. And of course, if you have not already done so, want to invite you one more time to head on over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. It's where you can support the show, and it's where we can connect. We've got monthly Zoom meetings and a lot of other goodies coming up. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for watching, and for all of your love and support. I will see you on the next one.